In the recent GTC 2025, Jensen Huang quote like agentic AI is the future.
We discovered we need to build something in agentic AI before even world knew that there is something called agentic AI.
Internet can be accessed by anyone, right? AI is the first. After that, I think, you can say it can be used by anyone.
So founders, as leaders in the ecosystem, we should think of how we can empower our team with agentic AI. That's rather than thinking that, okay, I'll replace them. AI is like a co-pilot. It will learn and grow with us.
I think AI is not like taking jobs away, it's redistributing the job ecosystem itself.
Okay. Welcome everyone to the next episode of Impactables with Rishav. Today we have Gaurav, founder of Avataar.ai, a decade-old company running from like building something deep tech-led models and computer vision models in India. Welcome Gaurav to the podcast.
Thank you, Rishav. It's all my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So I will be starting with this Gaurav since I have been knowing you from past 5 years. I have seen you guys evolve with the time. So it was October 2019. That was the first time I texted you when I was out of my college to onboard you as a client, and you definitely reverted us, gave us some work, and that time it was not in the favor of doing the environment. But can you tell us that how Avatar.ai, what we see today, the journey of the entire product, what we see in the over the past 10 years, what all things came through?
Oh, definitely, Rishav. 2019 when we had first interacted, it takes me back to a very serendipitous moment in our journey. As you rightly mentioned, we started in 2014. We started on two strong pillars of AI and computer vision. But late 2014, early 2015, when we were starting out, the Indian tech and startup ecosystem was either dominated by ideas borrowed from the West, being applied for Indian context, or ideas that we're building on services layer, which has been our strength for 2.5 decades. When we started, me and Shravan, the two founders of Avataar, we told ourselves that we'll build a deep tech company out of India. That was a commitment we gave to each other, that let's build the next Google from India, using that analogy, and change that ecosystem a little bit. As the journey progressed, our conviction grew stronger, and we realized that we don't want to build the next of anything. We want to build the first Avataar from India for the world. And 2019 was a very pivotal moment in that journey. Many don't realize it in the space of AI, but 2019 was the first year where we saw some application from the transformers. Though transformers came into existence in 2017, 2019 was when GPT-2 came out, BERT had started becoming more production friendly. So we started seeing some initial examples of how things could pan out. Our journey till that was more dominated by vision classifiers, vision models, CNNs, RNNs, as you would realize. We used to build modules for pre-production, inference, post-processing, but they all had to be stitched together. There was no single generic model that can do end-to-end, like transformers of today's world or LLMs of today's can do. So we used to do that a lot till 2019. 2020 to 2022 was where we started building smaller abstraction layer on top of the transformers, trying to leverage the benefit that we can get. These semantic understanding that start coming out of the LLMs and other tools in that domain. We started understanding that and leveraging it in the use case. 23 to 24 was a very exciting phase with the advent of agentic AI. That's when we started bringing multiple agents together to create automation of workflows. Today we have workflows, like primarily we focused on retail segment. That's where we started. We build process automation and workflow automation for content needs in the retail sector. Images, videos, 3D visualizations, we have support all of that on the platform. But as we progressed into 2025, our mixture of expert strategy became stronger. The multi-agent orchestrator became stronger. We built a dual memory layer on top of it, which brings in long-term learning for the platform. And that's when we realized that our platform could apply to other domains as well. it doesn't have to be restricted to retail as a vertical. Today we are in conversation with players from healthcare, we have inbounds from fintech, to the extent that our application to India AI mission, we are also looking at agriculture, education, such verticals where we can bring the application of our platform and benefit for the users. So in a nutshell, that has been our decade-long journey at Avataar.
But now what? Let's break down the thing which we guys are doing as of now, like the retail segment. Obviously, India has the biggest e-commerce and the retail giant. But like when you talk about this segment, the services what you're providing are majorly in India or like overseas, be it like US, Europe, etc. So in this entire journey, like this one segment which you mentioned is retail. Like India is the biggest e-commerce in the retail market. So you're providing services to Indian markets only or like overseas market, and what's the percentage share?
Sure. Very true, Rishav. India, from a global consumption center perspective, is one of the biggest center globally. It has been serving retail a lot. Our focus, because again, as I was referring earlier, we didn't want to spend too much time on the services side. Our focus has been on the product, building a platform that can serve these retail players in terms of building their own needs, what they want on the content side. So our image models, video models which are live today, and our partners, they can use it in their own way to create content on top of it. Our focus, more so from a market perspective, have been US. Today as we stand, I will say almost 90% plus of our revenues come from US Fortune 500 companies. The small portion of Indian business has been more of our early days, partners that we brought on board, because being an India headquartered company, even though we have presence in SF, but we started with Indian market to begin with, to take the home advantage. So we had some clients that we brought on board very early in the days. We still continue to have them, but for last majority of 4 years, we have just been focused on Fortune 500 companies in the US.
But in the retail also, which sector, like it must be clothing, furnishing, home decor, which sector uses this kind of a product or a model which you guys are building the most?
So the beauty of the platform that we have is it's agnostic of these subcategories. Any category that you bring on board, it can serve it. So our majority of the revenues come from large scale e-commerce players who has that entire horizontal breadth of different categories. Again, we have seen a lot of traction in home appliances, home decor, furniture, fashion, accessories, some sort of wearables. But the application is across the entire spectrum, and we serve names today, from fashion to electronics, from luxury players to mid-market segment. Everyone is on the platform.
But one thing is, so is it something like that? For example, I go to a website IKEA and I see I can visualize the sofa. It comes in the rotating. I can rotate that. I can turn it around. So is it something what you guys generate from the platform also?
We have done that for a large part of our journey. We still have the capability to do that, but our major focus is more towards image and video visualizations. So let's say if you have that sofa, we can add a lifestyle context to it, put it into an environment where you don't have to do physical shoots of taking that sofa, placing it in a contextual.
Got it. So in breaking down in the layman, suppose I have this sofa.
Yes.
And I have seen this in a website. So I can place this sofa in my, I can visualize this sofa in my room actually, correct?
Yeah, that's AR for you. That's augmented reality. We do have a platform that supports augmented reality, virtual reality, all of that. But the other piece where we have seen, players like Amazon, Lowe's, Home Depot, what they need lot more than this is first of all the image and then the video. So when you look at the product pages across the world today on e-commerce platforms, e-stores, 100% of them will have images. There can't be a product page without an image to begin with. Roughly 40% have videos also. And when you look at the 3D visualization penetration, that's less than 5% across the globe. So our focus is to serve the entire spectrum.
image, video, the 3D.
So everything is there, but we obviously see a lot more uptake on image and video side, because as you would understand, that's 100% and 40% penetration in the market. So the need is a lot more, and the benefit of higher sales with a video is a well proven use case.
In the customer journey, who is getting more advantage out of it, like the seller or the customer? Like how is impacting both the journeys, like me coming to Amazon and selecting a sofa, and you being a seller on Amazon putting this across? So for whom this has been a interesting journey and overall impact?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because we have always looked at it as a win-win partnership. So if I take the use case of the seller, let's say I'm a small seller on Amazon's platform, most of the times I won't have the resources to do a physical shoot of my products. Sometimes it's built to order only. So if while I'm selling, I don't even have the product in my warehouse to do a shooting. So our virtual solutions that we provide, are models that can create videos for them, engaging content for them. That is one benefit that they get to sell more on the platform. Amazon obviously benefits as sales increases, their commission increases. So Amazon sees the win over there, and by making these two players win, we find the win for ourselves as well.
And but how the pricing works? Like it must be very costlier. Like for someone, if I am starting a new e-commerce business,
Yes.
and I want to put this in my website, suppose
Yes.
I have 10 SKUs.
Yes.
I'm not talking about the e-commerce giants, but as a normal person, I'm starting a sofa business, for example, because that's the, I think sofa is one category which everyone wants to visualize that how it will look in their living room. That is one which I have always seen.
Yes.
That's the first. Beds are okay. Beds 50% is there, but sofa is one thing. 100% people I see, they visualize. If I purchase this sofa, whether it will go with my wall furniture, wall colors, wallpaper, curtains, etc. So like for me as an individual, suppose today if I'm starting my e-commerce business selling 10 SKUs of sofa, what it will cost me to generate those images from your platform?
But it will cost you much lesser than 1/10 of that sofa's price for our entire catalog. To go more specific on that question, it will be around $50 per SKU per catalog. So when you think of a sofa, which is priced around, let's say, $4,000, $5,000, you can create a visualization layer, like the videos, the images, everything that you can do at much lesser price.
And how many visualized image or videos I will get?
So it's a platform you can keep creating as many variations as you want. We allow very user-friendly editing on the tool. With prompts and simple guidance, you can create versions of the videos that you create, versions of the products that you create. By default, we give you certain variations. In different use cases, it could range between 3 to 9 variations that we give to the user to select from. But yeah, you can do editing on top of it to create the one that you like.
Okay, now this raises a different question. When we guys are already generating it via the platform or the software which you guys have built and the visualizing effect which you have created, will it not replace the people who are already creating 3D designs or videos or images? Images, no one is creating, they click the images, but the people who are doing the videos and 3D models and designs, will it not replace those people?
Well, that's a very profound question, Rishav. Look, I'll probably take a step back to answer that, because at Avataar, we don't see AI as another tool. It's not like a hammer looking for nails to hit on. AI is more like a living system that helps you make better decisions and achieve better outcomes. So, the journey of moving an AI from a tool to a teammate is the journey that we traverse at Avataar. So when we build our multi-agent systems, these we think as teammates or living systems that can come, sit into your ecosystem and help you build better platforms. So the idea is to definitely achieve cost reduction, optimization by taking out the grunt work that is involved in your entire pipeline, and that's always there. You look at any traditional workflow today, there will always be grunt work involved in it. So our focus has been is to eliminate those inefficiencies, take out that with the help of AI. While the human in the loop is always there, all our workflows ensure that there is a human in the loop sitting on top of it, taking the final decision. So as humans, what we want to achieve, and I could take my own example as well to elaborate on that, because with the help of these tools, I feel like I've become more productive over the course of last 12 months. I would say, and the last 1 year we would have done a lot more at Avataar, released lot more products at Avataar than the previous 4 years. That's the help of AI tools that we want to bring. That we make every human sort of a superhuman, give them those powers which they never realized they had, by taking away the inefficiencies, the unnecessary work or the time that they were wasting, while utilizing the brain and the powers of the brain into more productive stuff.
Got it. So in this, you guys have created your own agentic AI workflows, and like any on which LLM infra did you created this, or like you have created your own structures and infras?
So that's a very interesting question, Rishav, because what we have built is a multi-agent platform which acts as a mixture of expert uh, to automate any workflow in an enterprise context. Now, when we usually talk about mixture of experts, it's an intra-model thing and an intra-LLM thing, basically, that you evoke sub-models within a model to solve a problem depending on the task given to it. Experts being called for specific parts of the task. But when we were building this multi-agentic system, and I'll give more credit to my co-founder Shravant on this, because he used to keep pushing me towards the mixture of expert strategy, that we should incorporate it in the platform. So what we have done is that we have brought multiple AI experts together. Now they come together to make a workflow, an autonomous workflow that can automate the entire task. Now the key pieces over here is one, the entire library that we have built on the AI agents, which are your AI experts of sorts. The other is the orchestration IP that we have on top of it. And the third is the model hub. Now we have, of course, the generic LLMs that are out there. So we can plug and play with any of them for different task driven thing. But the key piece that we have developed as another IP in Avataar is task specialized models. We call them specialized model avatars, SMAs internally. So these are task specialized models created using knowledge distillation framework, where a teacher model like a generic LLM comes in. It creates the fine-tuning traces for a student model, which could be a small 3 billion, 4 billion, 7 billion parameter open source model. So it trains that smaller model with fine-tuning and reinforcement learning to predict and give the answer as accurately as the teacher model. But what the benefit is, the inference cost comes down drastically. In some cases, we have achieved as much as 99% plus reduction in inference cost. So this task specialized models, the SMAs that we have internally, or it be the generic LLMs out there, the platform is agnostic of that. It can plug and play with any of these models depending on the AI expert that has been evoked and the task it has been asked to complete. So that's the more generic approach that we follow, and that keeps us disruption proof also in a way.
So in your models, then we can create avatars also, right?
We can create replicas of products. That is one. But what we do focus a lot more, let's say, on if I were to go on the avatar side, there are two specific use cases. One, while you're creating a video for your product page,
Correct.
We can give you an avatar as a presenter. That it's more like an influencer or a brand
Exactly. That's
ambassador.
a normal avatar,
Yes.
like virtual avatar, which we talk about.
Yeah. So we can give you a presenter to talk about that video, the features, the benefits. And second is, we also allow people to try on products onto virtual avatars. So you can bring an image of your model or a brand ambassador again, and an image of your product. Will place that product onto your ambassador.
We can create our own avatars also. Like for example, if I want to create my avatar, like just like Agent does, like I create my own avatar. That also is possible.
So we can support that, but we don't get into the building the tech stack for that. We utilize the bottom stack for that, as you took Hagen, and there are many other players which does that. So we don't go into that foundational area of creating the avatar. We can leverage what exists, but we'll give you a value proposition driven outcome, which could be a video, which could be a try on image, which could be other use cases to serve what customer needs.
Understood.
That's our focus area.
So now we have understood what Avatar does, what's the infra, etc. we'll go more understanding about the market. And the very first thing which I also wanted to know is like 2014, what made you start this? Because 2015 when I started my college, and during that time things fancy was like just like Uber coming to my doorsteps and Zomato delivering foods. That was very fancy. This was not that fancy, and neither I believe no one knew it. So what made you start in 2014? And like what was, because either we see a problem or we face a problem, two kind of a scenario happens. But for you,
Yes.
what made you start this particular segment? Because it's very long time, 11 years.
Yes. Well, if you look at journey is probably now 14 years plus. That's when me and Shravan, two of us, started together. We were investment bankers in the consumer tech space. We started from there. We were part of a lot of boardroom discussions, across different companies, and we realized what the tech companies in India are building, which areas are they focusing, and which areas they are not focusing. We were also seeing the evolution of the hardware and software both, because software always has leapfrogged the hardware. It develops faster than the hardware. But back in 2013-14, we saw that hardware, like our mobile devices, were getting stronger. The GPUs and the CPUs on the chipsets were getting better. It were able to process a lot more data than what was possible or imaginable, let's say 5 years, 10 years prior to that period. So when we were starting out, we realized that there is a shift which is underway, and that's going to be a tectonic shift, not a small one. If you see today, like from a decade back, our lives around us has changed. Even in 5 years, like 2019 to today, it has changed a lot, but from 2014, it has changed drastically. So we were somewhere seeing that tectonic shift, and we based our journey on two strong pillars of AI and computer vision.
But during that time, 2014, did anyone talked about AI?
Thankfully, not many people were talking about it. That's the good initial phase that we got. Look, as I was saying, we were firm believers that AI would become an extension of human brain. Computer vision will augment human sight. Today, that's somewhat proven true with the advent of LLMs and VLMs on the AI and computer vision front. Everything has kind of merged together in the transformer era. So thankfully for us, we got, I would say, good 4 to 5 years of research runway, where we were not too much pressurized by the market demands, or too much pressurized by the competition shaping up, and having to react to that, which is usually what many startups kind of face and kind of struggle with. We got because we wanted to build a deep tech company, we got a good space initially, because many of the investors also didn't believe in it, and we were fine. We had our vision, we were clear what we wanted to achieve. We could somewhere, like with the lack of a crystal ball, we were still somewhere seeing the future as how it will evolve, and we wanted to capitalize on that, build for the longer run. It was never a short term journey for us that get to a unicorn status and do something with that, but it was more of a longer term thing. And I believe we are still in that journey right now, trying to build for 1 billion plus AI users. That's our end goal, that I want to build applications, solutions that can impact 1 billion plus AI user in the true sense, not something which is just superficial for a short term period.
But what was the year when you guys raised your first round then?
Our Series A was 2020, end of 2020.
So that was the first round.
We had some of the angels support us earlier. We had put our own money, me and Shavant, we had put in. We had a small friends and family round, and then we did a small angel round to just continue building.
In these 6 years, like small amount from
Yes.
different places, and 2020 Series A, and then Series B happened in 2022.
Early 22.
It was a $45 million
Yes.
round from Tiger Global.
Yes.
But what, because again, the second question comes around this 2022, still AI was not fancy.
Yes.
People were coming out from Corona. Two things were very fancy: EdTech, FinTech was growing. E-commerce has always been there because it was coming out from the struggling phase, because Corona obviously stopped many things. Still, 2022 was a shift in the market, because we have saw 2021, 20, lot of money being flown in the Indian markets, Indian startups. 22 was the time. Why? What made Tiger Global invest in an AI company? Because it's very unique. I will be very frank because this word was not known to anyone.
Yes.
Like we as a founder also were not familiar. Leave about the common people out there. So what made them invest in the vision?
So, one thing which was all obviously in our favor is the tailwinds from the post-pandemic era.
Okay.
So, with people spending more time at home, there were a lot of purchases happening in the home space, the home decor, home appliances, and us partnering with the e-commerce players in the US, we saw a lot of uptake over there. So that kind of helped us a lot, and that kind of proved that the model that we were building has a true application as well, because they were in need, as we were talking earlier about the visualizations of products in your space, in different formats, create more engaging content. There was a real demand for that and a dearth of creating that content at scale. Thankfully, our models proved that scale, proved that support to those e-commerce players who were building tens of millions of products annually. I mean, if I start talking about Amazon, that's hundreds of millions, and every other players out there is creating tens of millions of SKUs every year. And you need content which then go into those tens of millions of content pieces to serve the millions of consumers who come on the other side. So we saw the tailwinds of that, and we were able to prove the use case of our platform that we have been building with those partners in the space. That kind of gave us the, not just for investors coming on board, it to us as well, the team and the founders, it gives us that belief that the path that we are on is on the right way. We can definitely scale further from here, and we should continue on this journey. So I think it was those tailwinds, the belief of the founders, and obviously the team that we had put together, that must have convinced the investors. I'm obviously speaking on their behalf, but thankfully, like given the research focus, we had built a very strong team also, just beyond me and Shravan. Since early days, we were in partnership with IIT Bombay Com Science Department, hiring PhDs, masters folks from there. For last 3-4 years, we have been in partnership with Berkeley AI, having published papers across events with them, hiring PhD folks from there. So the team was strong. Founders had a strong belief about the future, and we had the tailwinds to support us
Got it.
on the paper. I think those must have played a role in Tiger and Sequoia both getting convinced for Series
But
B.
leaving behind what you guys have built, leaving behind investors, but you as an individual founder, like when you see 2014, 2024, because 24, this AI is all over. We are in Bangalore. Every other coffee shop you will go or a cafe you will go, you will hear people talking about AI as a whole. So do you see like it's like overused word? People are putting AI everywhere, even if it's not required. Do you feel that at times because you have been in after a decade of business, because you have seen things evolving, and suddenly people are just using that word to, again, I would say in a not a right manner also at times, because they're putting everywhere. So what's your view in this particular, what is happening all around?
Well, that's a very sore nerve that you have struck there, Rishav. Again, it's since the early days for us. When we started out, and throughout this 10 plus years of journey, AI ML has been the most abused term. When we started out, people doing simple data science stuff or statistical work used to call it ML, because that used to be the buzzword then. When you come ahead in this journey, Gen AI, AI powered solutions, and in 2025 agentic AI, these all people just throw around. You can even put humans behind a task and say AI agents are doing it. That is the unfortunate space of it. But we, as I was saying earlier, like our belief on the deep tech ecosystem has been very strong since early days. We always wanted to stay true to our roots in terms of what we want to build, how we want to build it, and we have continued on that journey. Today we are a team of just about 30 odd folks globally, and for a company who has traversed such a long journey, that's a rare state.
Exactly.
But when I look at other examples from this space, I get more confidence. I don't think many people realize this, that when WhatsApp was acquired, it was just 55 members, achieving 19 billion plus valuation. When YouTube was acquired, it was just 65 people. When Instagram was acquired, it was just 13 people building that company, serving hundreds of millions of users across the globe. So that's the kind of examples that we want to emulate. That's the kind of companies we want to build, because if we go too big, then it's not truly AI. We want to stay small and build a real solution which can serve, as I was earlier saying, billions plus AI users. I keep saying that to myself because that's the final destination that we are on, and I want to get there as fast as we can. But yes, that's the notion that we have followed to stay away from the noise, the herd, if I were to call it so. That we don't want to get into abusing the product mindset, the AI technology, by building some sort of a services layer on top of it and call it a AI platform.
Got it. During this entire things, what is going on in the market, like still founders say that we are here, we are replacing chief of staff, or we are replacing customer support, we are replacing sales people via this agentic AI. So do you think this replace word is appropriate, or empowering word is more appropriate?
I think empowering or augmenting is the right term, Rishav. I think you have gotten it pretty good. It can never work in a fully replaced manner, that we can take the entire team out and say AI agents will do everything. It is not as things stand today. When we bring in autonomous workflows for our partners on the enterprise side, we always keep a human in the loop. Let's say if we are creating a video for them, there is a human who reviews it, gives the feedback if required, so that the AI can improve, and then only that content goes live. If I take a healthcare example, like we are building a denials and appeals management. So as soon as a denial comes in, we understand the context, we create an appeal letter for it, but we always keep an expert to review it before it gets submitted. So that human angle is very important. So augmenting them, empowering them, making them superhumans, as I was referring to earlier, is the real power of AI that we can extract. We shouldn't think of kind of replacing the team if we have to. If we can have, we may have lesser folks now in the team, more people who will apply their brains instead of their hands.
Correct.
So application of that will increase, that will improve the productivity, that will improve the value that you can derive out of your team. So founders, or as leaders in the ecosystem, we should think of how we can empower our team with AI tools, with agentic AI that's becoming part and parcel of our lives, rather than thinking that, okay, I'll replace them with this.
And but what happens mostly, like when we are building something, we are giving AI very overpowered kind of a word actually. So do you think that so much of powering something like a computer or a thing which doesn't exist than humans, if you're overpowering them, is the right thing to do in the market as of now?
As of
For
now,
humans actually.
not really. AI is like a co-pilot. It will learn and grow with us. I always use this example that, AI today is like a kid which is looking at the adults around it, which are the humans, and trying to emulate them as we used to do as kids. We looked at our parents, our teachers, the other adults, and we try to emulate, learn from them, grow, and become better. AI is at that stage. Now, if let's say you put a kid at the driving seat, do you think that's a good outcome?
No.
Obviously not. So AI is at that stage, so we can't give AI too much power. We cannot put it into the driving seat of deciding where the future should go. Humans still have to drive it. AI is helping them as that co-pilot sitting next to them, but human is the main pilot deciding where it should go. As things evolve, AGI, artificial general intelligence, is also a very interesting space. A lot of progress happening over there, but it's in an infancy. If Gen AI today is at a kid stage, AGI is at an infancy stage, so it's much earlier. And for next decade or so, we are not seeing anything drastically changing on that front. So as things stand, we should not think of overpowering AI. We should use it as a support system in us achieving our daily task.
And but how to overcome these scenarios where some deep fake kind of a videos or images or voice is been circulating nowadays? Because people like my mother, or like I believe anyone who's sitting in tier 3 city of India, they are not aware of this. Now if they get to hear that their son is calling them and the voice is me, but I am not, that's not the real person, for them they will believe that he's my son only. So how to stop that in the longer game? Because this is being, people in metro cities are not getting hampered by this. They are still getting hampered. That's in the minor level, but the people who are not much educated about AI are getting so much. How to stop this?
Well, if we go slightly deeper, you would be surprised at how much impact it brings to India, specifically on a daily basis. We lose around 8 crore rupees on a daily basis with these scams, fake calls that happen regularly. And these scamsters are fooling people across all parts of India.
8 crores per day.
Per day is a reported number that happens. And many cases don't even get reported.
Exactly.
Because sometimes you lose 10,000, 20,000, you don't go to rush to police station every time to report it. But it's a very big menace happening around us, and it happens across all levels in our society. Even in bigger metros and cities, people are getting scammed. Yes, there may be certain groups who are more susceptible to scam. Like folks like us, when you see a scammer calling you, you normally don't even respond. Even if you respond, you can catch that very quickly. But yes, our parents, they're more susceptible to such scams. People in other parts of the country who are not so much exposed, they are very much susceptible to this such scams. And this is one of the things which is very close to me as well, in terms of how we can really solve it. And I've been thinking for a while. I believe going to the original source of anything is the real solution.
Okay.
That's where a slightly adjacent technology of blockchain also comes into picture, where I can always verify the origination of a fact. So if you are getting a deepfake video, if you are getting a voice recorded call, if I can build a technology that can fact check the source of that content, I will always be able to tell you from where it is coming. Some scamsters today, they pose as police officers.
Exactly.
And they may actually be not even in India. They'll pose as that police officer. The biggest scam comes from some of these Southeast Asian countries, like their bases. I don't want to go to specifics into country names, but there are many Southeastern Asian countries where these scammers have their base. So if I can now fact check that, if I can find the source, that if somebody is calling, is he actually in front of that police station, or is some other country altogether?
But during that time, me as an individual get panic now. Like
Yes.
if I say that I am admitted in hospital, I just met with an accident, I need 1 lakh rupees right now, and you are my, say suppose, brother or sister,
Yes.
or instead of fact checking, like you will rush away, you will run away to this. Like people might check nowadays, because this is where we are heading towards, but still our parents will not.
Yeah. So when I was actually referring to fact checking, it's not because as humans we can do. You get a call from your brother, you can call him up and ask again that,
Correct.
is it really you? Or if your friend messages you that I need money, you will call them up and ask, is it really you, or
Exactly.
is it someone else? By checking this origination or source, I meant AI doing that for us. Like how when you get a call, it tells you at that moment itself, even before you pick the call, from which country, from which source is the call
Okay.
coming from. If you get a voice recorded thing, you can get a source check that is it this person really, or is it someone else. Like now we have tools to even detect content created by AI. So we can know if the video has been created using AI. It will tell us that how much of that video was actually driven by AI, like an VLM sitting underneath it. So there are such tools, but early stages, if we can build them to build a chain of trust in the entire ecosystem. And I mean, at an academic level, we have research supporting that we can do it, and we should do it as an ecosystem. But there are ways to go to the origination in real time without a human being involved, AI doing it for you, and you protecting yourself from that scam.
And but how do you compare when that Web3 boom came, na? 2022.
Yes.
22 was the time actually. Everyone was Web3, Web3, Web3. And now it got consolidated. Like very limited people are doing, very deep focused. And it has money, obviously. Web3 as a segment, they make money. People who are doing it very seriously. So do you think in AI also it will happen after some time?
Definitely it will. Even Web3, if I go back, it got marred by one or two such cases,
Correct.
but the technology underneath it was amazing.
Exactly.
The entire, how cryptocurrencies have been built using blockchain, it was a revelation of itself, and it was a shift of the entire space. So AI is also at that stage where we have built such amazing technologies. They can and there will be some misuse of this technology. People will try to take advantage, but the good part is that about information, that in the longer run, information always turns into wisdom. So if you give me more and more information, I'll be able to decipher what's the right, what's wrong. So same happens with system. You keep building these, keep supplying it more information. I'm slightly more optimistic that the systems that we have, it will build more wise applications, better ways to stop such scams, and prevent the misuse of the platform. So AI would obviously go the same way. It has been our history. If you look back at human history, since early days, if I even go hundreds or thousands of years back, information and adding more and more information eventually adds to wisdom. So I'm still a believer of that school of thought, and I think it will lead to better outcomes.
Got it. So there's one thing was you talked about one of the most amazing idea which I was going through your profile, that AI citizens before rolling them out in the real world, how close you are making the idea more better, and public infrastructure, fintech schemes, or even things like UPI feature rollout, like in the real world scenario when we talk about before rolling out. So what was the major take on when we spoke about this one?
Yeah, that's another one of my passion projects, very close to my heart. Idea is to create virtual replicas of people in a given system. So think of it as AI citizen,
Okay.
taking up the entire space, and trying to help us be better at policy making. That's one of the biggest use cases. There are other use cases that, to maybe elaborate on this, I'll take an example. Assume we are in January 2026.
Okay.
Notorious, this metro construction work is still going on in Bangalore outer ring road area. Think of the BBMP leader coming in and saying, we have now implemented a new traffic system, and they bring this to urban planners, to even tech representative from the space who get affected because of that. But along with that, they say that, what we did also is that last month we tested this on 10,000 Bangalore citizens.
Okay.
Which were not real citizens, but AI citizens, created as replicas of Bangaloreans across the entire spectrum of the population. And we tested this to see how the movement of those citizens could work with this new system. What was a trust-based system that you could enable on the traffic side. So by testing it on that, we have learned from it, and now bringing you a much more evolved solution that can take care of the congestion in the traffic nuance which is there.
This AI citizen as a whole, like it's a replica of human beings, right?
Yes.
But this is not they cannot do anything by themselves, correct?
So you put them into a simulation, and they behave as humans would. So you create a replica as you taking into consideration their beliefs, their psychology, their past. Everything is that considered of a population, and you create a virtual replica of that population.
Okay.
Then you put it
It will happen in virtual environment.
It will happen in a virtual environment. You'll put it into that and simulate the environment.
Just like during Corona times, we have to have virtual conferences.
Yes.
In a virtual meeting rooms. We used to join from here. Our virtual replica used to sit over there in the table. It's like that?
Somewhat similar, because in this case, the human involvement is not even required.
Okay.
I've already trained a model. So AI is an extension of human brain, as I was saying earlier. So I have trained a model to think like you, act like you, behave like you.
Got it.
Now that model will go and do the job on your behalf without you having to trigger it, without you having to prod it to do certain things. It will be put into different scenarios and it will behave how Rishav would have reacted to it. So that instead of, like if you took the example of UPI, right? If I'm bringing in a new policy, I can anticipate how people will adopt that
Got it.
without having to roll it and then pull back.
Got it. So this is this being implemented in any of the use cases in India as of now?
Not to my knowledge, but yes.
Yeah, I have not seen this.
Yeah, but that's why I said it's one of my passion projects right now.
Anywhere outside India?
At an academic research level, I've seen this, not a real life use case.
Got it. This is very interesting because this is one thing which I was seeing around, but down the line, actually, how it will react to the environment is very much important. So, but what is the major use case this can be used on? One is obviously policies and all those things, traffic. But apart from that, but it will be only a better use case for the bigger audience, or like for smaller audience also.
Look, it can work for smaller audience as well, but the benefit, like you talked about the environment, the Indian context, India has the best digital public infrastructure which exists in the world. We have Aadhaar, we have UPI, we have DigiLocker, we have ONDC, we have a culmination of tools which no other country thankfully has today. So this idea actually was built on top of that DPI, that given we have all of this, why can't I build a solution on top of that which can serve to simulate scenarios which otherwise is too costly. And in a country like India, we cannot spend money just for experimentation. We sometimes just dive right into it, execute it, and then realize, okay, it's not working the way it should. So whether it be for a smaller segment of people or a larger segment, the simulation can work efficiently and effectively in both the scenarios. It just needs the bottom layer to be strong, which we already have thanks to our DPI. Building on top of it is easy. Yes, but I don't think anyone has started yet, including me. I would say it's more at a project state rather than the execution state.
But in this whole process, like whatever we discussed today, what type of companies or what type of infra or tech are gonna survive? Like, because I believe that companies which get shut down will get shut down in within 3 years to 4 years. I've also seen that while I invested in so many companies, the company wanted to get shut down, they got shut down in 3 years. People who have escaped that particular time, 3 to 4 years, I know they are warriors now and they're gonna survive it. And they're gonna do something, either by pivoting, either by changing things, adopting things. So in this whole AI race, which we started in 2024, 25, it will be full of this drama, I believe. 26, what type of companies will be in more use cases in our day-to-day life, and whatever companies will survive in the end?
To give you a very short answer, application focused companies.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the evolution of this space, people have been focused on the foundational side, building the next bigger, better model, 1.8 trillion token parameters to, for pushing the boundary further and further ahead. They want to build the next bigger foundational stuff. That's what the focus has been. But what's also evident now, that now there's diminishing marginal utility. It's not about now building the next bigger model. It's about building the next application based on that foundational layer, which is already there. So if we have to focus on 2026, more specifically from Indian context, my strong belief is, and that's what we focus at Avataar as well, but my belief is that we have to build an application layer that can utilize the foundation which already exists, but bring value-driven use cases. Some value props that can serve the need of the consumers, the customers out there. So building on this, one, it will be more cost effective because the foundation already exists. You don't have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars of compute to train the next model. It can be cheaper, which is beneficial from Indian context. And given it's value driven, it will help you get more users for it on the other side. Actual users who, even with even if they have low consumable spend, who are on low end devices, these applications can serve them and bring true value out of the system. So application focus, I would say, should be the name of the game in 2026.
Got it. So before we end, because this particular segment is very fancy for young graduates, 21 to 25 age group. These are the people actually nowadays when they think across of starting something, first thing they are doing is like AI.